Thank you so much, Sahil, for joining for this Let's Talk show. Um, Let me give you the brief about the Let's Talk show. Is the show where we are bringing, all the brilliant minds and the people, those who are doing the wonderful work into their own domain. We have today, Sahil Mehta. He is a leadership coach, especially the new word terminology I understood from Gautam Ganglani. He shared that the decluttering coach. Yeah, so coaching has, various aspects. This is also something, a niche of a coaching, which I was able to understand and learn from him. So he's a decluttering coach, author of an award-winning book that is called The Break Free. And he's a mountaineer, a very vivid, the experience rarely we see amongst the people and the coaches. And he's a keynote speaker. So we will be going to learn a lot many things from Sahil. Sahil, wonderful to have you on this show. Thank you so much for joining.
Pankaj ji, it's such a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you for inviting me.
So I am here in Bangalore, India, and you are sitting in Dubai. Let's begin this with just share in brief about your journey. What do you do? How things are working for you?
Thank you. Yeah, as you mentioned, I really focus on working with founders, with leaders to enable them to get diamond grade clarity so that they can identify and remove the clutter in their lives, which is allowing them to scale their summits of success faster. I always say that we're all climbing metaphorical mountains. It could be for health, wealth, relationships, community, personal growth, spirituality, and the list goes on and on. So even though I climb physical and metaphorical mountains, everybody's climbing mountains. And the reality is we're carrying a lot of weight with us. And some of that weight is useful. It's the tent we need to sleep in, it's the food we need to eat. But there's also a lot of baggage that we carry with us that has no purpose or no function in our life. And by holding on to it, it's heavy, very heavy, and it's slowing us down. It's requiring more energy, and it may even result in not reaching your summits. So it's very important to identify this clutter, which is this excess baggage that serves no function or purpose, and remove it from your life so that you can scale your summits faster.
Yeah. Sahil, many people, they are aware about this thought, but when it comes to actually the implementation, the execution, they fail. And I saw many leaders those who really wanted to reach to their summit and their objective and the goals. But when it comes to the implementation, please help us in decluttering this thought so that people will be able to really understand, just deconstruct this, decode this important complexity in this.
Such a great comment that you made. The first thing that you need is courage. Many people know things. We've learned so many things in school, we hear from other people, our colleagues, our friends, but we don't actually do it. We think it's a great idea, but we still don't do it. But it takes a lot of courage to face yourself in the mirror, to really be honestly and brutally truthful with yourself. Because I can easily do this. It's the government's fault. It's my boss's fault. It's my wife's fault, my husband's fault, my community's fault, the building management, and the list goes on and on. It's always someone else's fault. But we have to look inwards. We have to look at ourselves. So that requires a lot of courage. And so the first thing that I always tell people is we have to look within. Stop blaming other people, because you have the power to change your life. You have the power to change your life and to make it better and get the results that you want. The next thing you need is humility. Maybe you were so strong on something and now you have to poke a hole in that ego, and you have to be vulnerable. You have to be and say that maybe I was wrong. Maybe I didn't think it through correctly. Maybe there's other ways of looking at it. And really learn and understand that I am not perfect, but I thrive to become the best version of myself. And so you have to take that ego and you need to pop it so that it starts to fizzle away. And then the third thing I would say, it requires discipline. I was just having lunch with someone earlier today and they said, we just finished this badminton tournament. A lot of people got excited that, I'm going to start playing now every week. And they were excited for 1-2 months, and then like a gym membership, people go in January and February, and then March it starts to slow down, and by the end of the year the gym is looking very empty. So it's the same thing. You have to have the discipline. You got to put in, you have to put in the effort. You have to do it again and again and again. And I find, and this is where I'm going to share the secret sauce, is most people haven't identified their mountains. They say, I want to be successful. But what does that mean? And so most people haven't defined that. And as you identify the mountains in your life, every time you come to a junction where you have to make a decision on where to go, you ask yourself, is this in line with one of the mountains I wish to climb? And if yes, great, say yes. And if it's not, then it makes it a lot easier to say no. Because a lot of people find it difficult to say no. But when you know where you're going, you just say yes to the things that help you get there faster. In, of course, an ethical way. So without having clarity on where you're going, how will you have success?
Yeah. Sahil, help us in understanding how coaching helps in this.
Wow. I'm going to tell you something which many people may not know. I'm a coach. I'm a trained coach. I'm an accredited coach by the International Coaching Federation. And guess what? I have a coach. And then I speak to my coach, and she's been coaching for years. I mean, she's much more experienced than I am. She's my guru, right? In the coaching world. And she has a coach. So the point I'm trying to make here is that you might think just because someone is a coach or has the experience, they don't need to be coached. But no, you cannot see your own blind spots. I mean, look in the sports world. Did Roger Federer say, "Oh, I'm number one. I don't need a coach anymore. I'm gonna stop coaching because I'm the best. I don't need coaching anymore." No, he continued. Look at the Indian cricket team. Where every year they're getting coached. Yeah. They're not saying, "Oh, we're good. We're the best batsman of the year this year, or the best bowler, or whatever it is. I can stop coaching now." No, because they want to continuously improve. So the coach is there to push you, to show you the things you're not seeing, to help you discover your blind spots so that you can continue to be the best version of yourself. So do I think people need coaches? My humble opinion, everyone should have a coach.
Yeah. Sahil, I was going through your entire, the journey. You're a mountaineer. What makes you to reach to the different summit? And you, I think, climbed on the four top, the peaks, right? So how do you means what really inspires you to do all this? And what there are maybe in our audience, many people must be thinking that I need to be there, I need to be here, and like this, but they are unable to take that one decision. Let me do this. Yeah, I am also a fitness freak. Sahil, believe you me, if I don't hit my gym in the evening, after going at home, I feel uneasy. Whenever I am going for some other conferences, that on my business tour and like this, I feel discomfort that today I missed something which is very important for myself. So what really inspires you? How do you take decision? And how you are continuously finding an opportunity to reach to all these the tops?
Yeah, brilliant question. Look, it started with just a desire, right? I think it was one of those things as a boy growing up, you hear of everyone says Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world, and you have this dream that, maybe I can climb a mountain one day. And so I had this opportunity, after marriage, before having children. I said, I have a little bit more time. With kids, time gets a little bit more used up. And I said, let's make this wish a reality. And I asked my wife and I said, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. My friend said, yes. Do you want to come as well? Luckily for me, she said yes. And I say luckily because it's so beautiful to share these magical moments together. So the first time it was just curiosity and kind of checking the list of a desire, a dream that I had. But something magical happened when I was on the mountain. So the first mountain, we actually did go up Everest, but not to the top. We went to Kala Patthar, which is a little bit higher than base camp. And that's at 5,545 meters, if I'm not mistaken. So it's still very high. And we were on the mountain for 12 days. Okay. But something happened. I fell in love with being with Mother Earth in her purest form. I fell in love with slow living, where you're not just running constantly, I got to do this and that, and emails and telephone and lunches and social events, and it just doesn't stop. Over there, everything slowed down. I had this beautiful moment with the people I climbed with, and we created such amazing bonds with each other. So it was a good break. It was a time to reflect. It was a time to bond with Mother Earth, and it was a time to push myself because I honestly thought I couldn't do it. And when I did do it, then my mind opened up and I said, wow, if I can do this, what else can I do? Where else am I limiting myself? And so why do I keep going back to the mountains? It's for exactly those reasons, to keep pushing myself and realizing that I can do much more than I think. It's to bond with Mother Earth and really admire this beautiful earth that we live on and breathe the fresh air, to bond with the people that I climb with, to reflect internally as I'm walking, because many times you're not talking, you're just walking or climbing and you're just in your own thoughts. So there's many reasons why I do it, but it allows me to come back rejuvenated, stronger, and having these goals pushes me to have other metaphorical mountains as goals. And hence all I tell myself is, Sahil, what step can you take today to get one step closer to your summits? So every day I'm taking one step in front of the other, and slowly but surely you get there.
Wonderful. Sahil, how do you correlate, that experience of reaching to the summit or the goal with the life and your professional life and personal life?
One thing that the mountain teaches me is a lot of discipline, and it teaches me a lot on how to behave. I always tell people, here we have 4 walls. We're protected. And if you make a mistake in your house or in your office, you might lose money, you might mentally get challenged, you might have emotional issues, you might have physical challenges, you might get hurt, things can happen. But when you're on the mountain, you can get severely injured or even die. And so the mountain teaches me a level of discipline, and I say, how can I behave in this world we live in today the same way I live on the mountains, where we communicate effectively, because miscommunication can be a problem. We plan effectively, because again, otherwise it would be a problem. We choose our team members and our guides very carefully. So it's like hiring the right people in your teams. So all these elements that you learn on the mountain, you can bring that into your day-to-day life to help you become more successful. So that's how I correlate the summits of the actual mountains with my summits in life, which are part of my journey towards success.
Wonderful. This is so exciting. The moment you're sharing your journey, it really goosebumps are coming, about all these experiences. Share now, coming to your book, Break Free. I was going through the video with Marshall Goldsmith. Yeah. So what comes to your mind of keeping this name Break Free? And you shared about 4 important, the lessons, especially in this book. Just share those things with our audience and for all of us.
Absolutely. The title Break Free is, the clutter, like I said, is weight. It's excess weight that is really holding you down. And when you remove it from your life, it's like you break free from the chains and all this excess weight that's holding you down, and you feel liberated. So that's really where I came up with the title Break Free. And the full title of the book is Break Free, A Guide to Decluttering Your Life. And it's really divided into 4 parts, because I talk about 4 different dimensions that you can remove the clutter. So let's take them one at a time. The first is the mind, decluttering the mind. We have, if I'm not mistaken, something like 32,000 thoughts a day. That's the average number of thoughts that we have, or decisions that we make in a day. And so there's a lot of thinking that's going on. There's a lot going on in our head. And I always say, you don't need other people to be your enemies, because you can become your own worst enemy by saying, I can't, I'm not good enough, I'm just not capable, it's not fair, I did this, why am I in this world? Why am I living like this? And be the victim. And you can, all those things that can drain you. And the best way to say it is that you always have these two wolves that are battling in your head. They're fighting constantly. And one wolf is pride, ego, resentment, hatred, anger, jealousy, and all the things that are not serving you in life. And the other wolf is joy, love, compassion, sharing, caring. I mean, a lot of these things, strength, passion, purpose, and they're always fighting. So people often ask me, they're like, Saahil, but if they're fighting, which wolf wins? It's the one that you feed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's your choice which wolf you feed. Because here's the thing, a thought leads to a feeling. A feeling leads to an emotion. An emotion leads to an action. And repeated action becomes a habit. And that becomes you. So when you say, I want to change myself, you have to change the way you think. So I often tell people, which wolf are you feeding? And how can you transition from the wolf that is taking away from you to the wolf that is raising you? Right? Now, when you say, for example, this is too hard, you can change it to say, I understand it's hard, but I'm going to find the tools that are going to make it easier for me. So you can rephrase. You can rephrase any thought in your mind and make it something that elevates you rather than pulling you down. So the first section really talks about decluttering the mind. The second section talks about decluttering the body. Now, this body that we are in, if it's sick, if it's tired, we're not going to be able to perform at the same level. So it's really understanding our body, what things are harming us, what things can energize us, really looking at different level things, but really looking at how to energize ourselves better. Because when we're more energized, we can complete more things in the same 24 hours. You look at Gandhiji, you look at Nelson Mandela, you look at Martin Luther King. Yeah. They all had the same 24 hours that we did, but they achieved so much. Right? It's because they were very clear in their thinking. They were very focused. They knew which mountains they wished to climb. But the point is their body had to help them as well. If your body becomes too weak, you're not able to perform. So optimizing your body to get the results you want. The third thing we talk about is decluttering relationships. Now, a lot of people think decluttering relationship means I want to get rid of someone in my life. No, I'm talking about you, someone else. You care about each other, but things are not being said, and over time you're distancing. You're getting further and further apart. And that's the clutter between you. So it's about removing that clutter to make your relationship stronger again. Yeah. Because we all have relationships with our parents, with our spouse, with our children, with colleagues, with friends, where it started to drift a little bit. But how do we bring it back so that it's becoming solid again? And then finally, the fourth dimension is decluttering the material world. So physical things, what do you have in your house, in your office that doesn't serve any purpose? And guess what? If it's not doing anything for you, you still have to take care of it. You have to manage it subconsciously or consciously. And by giving it to someone else who can benefit, you're actually decluttering and putting a smile on someone else's face. If I have 20 shirts and I only wear 10 of them, what's the point of keeping the other 10? I might as well give it to someone who can use it. Yeah. So that's really the ethos of the book, covering the 4 different areas of mind, body, relationships, and the physical environment.